Indaba, where we have quite a number of items listed for you this evening, including one that I'm sure you're going to be very thrilled about. Interview with the winners of the 2024 National African History Quiz and the spoken word competitions, and of course, grassroots entrepreneurship in the Black community in Guyana, and of course, a whole lot more, including the African report. So, without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Shabaka Kambon, Reverend Kwame Kamau, and Dr. Fergus. Again, to you all,
Yes,
you gentlemen, and
good
your
evening,
special
Ross
guest. A very
King.
good evening.
Good evening, Ross King, and good evening to the listeners of 91.1 Talk City. Good evening, and wherever you are, might be good morning to our fans online, YouTube and Facebook. Kwame is not on this evening, but Renee is back in studio with us, pulled from
Hi,
behind
good
the
night.
technical expert is in studio with us this evening. So welcome joining us this evening. And there is no official Africa report this evening. You will listen to the next report, next edition of Indaba, that's next week. But I just want to say this evening that we should all be looking to Ghana for the rest of this week. Ghana is gearing up for its presidential elections and its parliamentary elections on Saturday. President Akufo-Addo is not running. He has completed his second term and he is not running. His deputy is the flag bearer for the party, that is the NPP party, the incumbent party, Muhammadu Bawumia. Bawumia, he is a northerner, and he is coming up against former President John Mahama of the NDC party. Mahama was in office 2012 to 2016, and he has fought two losing contests against Akufo-Addo. So he's back. According to the polls, the NDC is favored to win the elections, but one never knows. So look out for elections. What I would do after next week, I would do a post-mortem on the elections and also on the post-electoral situation in Mozambique as well. I think we need to have a little look at what's happening in Mozambique after the election. So basically, that's it. I don't want to spend too much time because there was supposed to be no Africa report. But I think it's very important that we keep an eye on Ghana in terms of what happens. I think so.
Thank you, Dr. Fergus. I do want to share some sad news on the local front. One of the founding members of the Warao Council of Elders from San Fernando, Brother Mickey Tang, has passed away, has transitioned. And so, we want to, just for the benefit of our listening audience, we know that in 100 years from now, history will record that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago announced that we were removing 3 ships from our coat of arms, representing the invasion and occupation of the Caribbean by Christopher Columbus in 1492, celebration of genocide. Underneath that history, the way we remember the great figures, the important people who make the announcements, you have a lot of grassroots people who would have worked for a long time, decades, in the trenches to try to overturn the society's perception of Christopher Columbus. People like, of course, we remember Shadow and Stalin for Bandem and Columbus Lie and Brother Resistance and so on. But Mickey Tang was part of that group of elders from the Warao community, one of the indigenous communities that really got in there and did the work. He was an artist. He painted banners that you could see in some of the photos over the last 7 or 8 years from protests and so on. He was always there, and he has transitioned. So we send our condolences to the Warao community, particularly those from the Southland, Siparia, and San Fernando, and to the family of Brother Mickey Tang and his friends who loved him dearly. Wonderful guy. It was a real pleasure for me to get to know that elder, and so I am happy to send love to his family and friends.
You're muted, Dr. Fergus.
Yeah, I was saying you would like to bring greetings to our listeners, I'm sure.
Yes, so good evening to all our listeners, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us tonight. If my other host would permit, I would like to begin our report from the Secretariat with a very short ad about our upcoming Kwanzaa market.
Proceed, Renee. You are on the
Emancipation Support Committee of Trinidad and Tobago 2024 Kwanzaa Market is back at the Garden Theatre, Queen's Hall on Saturday 14th December and Sunday 15th December. Come enjoy music, food and drinks while you shop for local delicacies, home decor, skincare items, clothing, jewelry and unique gift items in the beautiful natural ambience of the Garden Theatre. If you missed shopping at the Emancipation Village this year, here is your chance to get those special items. Come to the Kwanzaa Market Saturday 14th December from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sunday 15th December from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. See you there.
Good night, Alejandra.
There's nothing to see here. All right.
Who was that, Shabaka? Who was that mystery person?
Mystery person. You know, people drop in to say hello.
Okay.
But this beautiful ad, Renee. Beautiful ad, the Kwanzaa Market. And of course, tonight we're going to be talking to a sister from Guyana a little later in the program. Who should be there. In fact, I think we're going to use this opportunity to extend an invitation. We're going to hear from about the kinds of entrepreneurial activities taking place in our sister on the mainland. And of course, let me tell you, Guyana is doing some great work. And we have an entrepreneur extraordinaire tonight on our program. So I look forward to that session.
So before we bring on our guests to discuss the National African History Quiz and Spoken Word competition, I just want to encourage the public to come out to Queen's Hall at their Garden Theatre. Last year we would have had it at the Queen's Park Savannah, but this year we really wanted to bring another change to the ambience, and we love doing our events there at Queen's Hall at their Garden Theatre. You know, I want to encourage people, when you do come, please walk with your money, because it's very hard just to window shop at these particular events. It's a great opportunity to just pick up your little Christmas gifts and tokens for family members, for those of us who want to purchase stuff for the teachers of our children, even like the drivers. I have a co-worker who said she's going to see if she can get something there for the driver for her daughter. It's really nice, easy shopping. Like I said, the ambience is really great. You could purchase a little drink, have something light to nibble on, and just look at what people have to offer. So coming off of that, ESCTT would have just wrapped up our National African History Quiz and Spoken Word competition. And like you said, tonight we have the winners from both competition who are going to join us. So I would like to bring on Ms. Nyasha Seeley from Holy Faith Convent, Couva, and the team captain, Ms. Jasmine Johnson. And I would also like to bring on Miss, but she's a little dynamic little girl with a dynamic spirit, Miss Samiya Asby. She also won a national spoken word competition last year. And Khadija, the project coordinator for this particular project, was telling me that this year was actually a hat trick for her school, Brazil RC Primary School. So I also want to welcome Miss Samiya Asby.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. All right, so we have winners here. Dr. Fergus, you were there live and in person. You're the best person to lead this segment, guys. But let me just say congratulations. I heard
Thank
this one
you.
was a challenging one, and it was nail biter. And so, you had to do your homework to win. Uh, Renee, where are we going to start? Are we going to start with spoken word, or are we going to start with the competition? Where do we begin?
We could start with Miss Jasmine Johnson and her teacher who's here with us, Miss Seeley. I understand that this was Holy Faith Convent Couva's first time participating in the competition. Either Miss Jasmine or Miss Seeley, what was your experience like in this year's competition?
Okay, well, I'll start with Jasmine. So it was a really good experience for us coming into the competition as for the first time. It was a learning experience. We basically did not know what to expect. We got the rules and we got the booklet. And so it was really about them learning the content very quickly. And as we got through the preliminaries and the quarterfinals, we were also observing the other teams as well. So there are particular teams that we looked at. Schools like Marabella North. We looked at our sister school, Holy Faith Pinal.
Mhm.
Um, we realized that there were St. Benedict's as well. There were a number of schools in the competition who had previously won. So the girls and I, we did our background research on the schools just to have a gist of who is who in the competition and also
Mhm.
basically observing them as they also advance through the round.
Okay.
Well, I know it had to be a combination of a good teacher and good students to win this competition. So let's go to the students and hear, what the experience was like for you, Sister Jasmine.
I agree with Miss. It was a really great experience. I remember for the preliminaries, I was so nervous. I was kind of shaken, but honestly, interacting with the teams, it was lovely, and all of the judges, everyone, they were so lovely to all of us, and it was just a really nice environment. And I was so glad to have decided to participate in the competition.
Okay, so I don't want you all to tell your secrets in terms of how you all got to that point of victory. How you all, whatever you all did, you guys gonna keep it. You're gonna bring it back next year. But I want to know, Jasmine, what was it inside the material? What was your experience of learning this material? Was it all new to you, or were these things that you had been doing in school, or had been reading about on your own?
Well, none of the concepts were really new to me. I did the topic historical events, and it focused a lot on reparations. And I hadn't learned the specifics, like one of them focused on Namibia and Germany. And I hadn't learned about it before, but I understood the concept, of course. And
Mm.
that was something that was really cool learning about it from a wholly new perspective.
Reparations. So Dr. Fergus, you guys are.
Could you confirm what form you are in and your colleagues? What
Uh,
forms they came from?
Yes, so Jennifer, Solomon, Celine Morris, Kimora Cortez Hines, and I are all in lower six, while Cyan Big is from Form 4.
And
Wow.
you? What form are you in?
I'm in lower six as well.
You're in lower six. Okay, and reparation is part of your Cape on your Cape history syllabus.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so what I want to ask you is this: how did the preparation for the quiz impact on your regular history classes in terms of whether that inspired you to do more of the regular history as called for on your sixth form syllabus? And if you did end of term test this term, um, how did you perform? I don't want you to give me marks, but in terms of that energy you got from the quiz, did it also impact you in your
Translate.
preparations for test, and how did you engage the history test, if you did, because I don't know if you did any end of term test?
Yeah, so we did have a end of term test, and well, Miss Celia is actually my history teacher, and so how well, of course, we had our end of term test after the finals of the competition, so I think we were all a little bit confident. But for me, the whole process kind of enlightened me, and it made me approach history in a slightly different way. And I was a bit more eager to learn any and everything. I kind of, I was just inspired a little bit more to learn. The competition really helped me see how important history is in our lives today, and that's how it helped me with my studying.
Well, I would say that's a great great note there. The strike. I mean, now, Miss Seeley, we are a country that has a lot of challenges coming out of our colonial experience. With the curricula, the content of our curricula, generally speaking. I just had two students come to me with an exercise where the teacher asked them to write as if they were indigenous people around the time when Columbus invaded the Caribbean, and to talk about the good things that they experienced. I don't
The
know.
good things
Yes, the good things.
as as an indigenous person, the good
As
things.
an indigenous
Okay.
person. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jasmine, what's your take on that as a student? How would you feel about an exercise like that?
Well, it's actually interesting because while there was a majority of bad things they experienced, there was some good for sure. Like they would have learned new things from another culture as well. So
Miss Seeley, what is your take on this one?
Um, I know every teacher has his or her style. I may not have approached it that way because for me, um, you know, it it would have been more negatives than positives, if any positives. So
Yeah.
um,
I think,
maybe
guys, what I would like
perhaps
to
the teacher was trying to challenge the students. I don't know, to look
well,
for something
I'm
else.
going to
But
tell you
I
guys,
know how it is taught. Yes,
I intend to
go ahead.
write the teacher about this exercise. And I'm going to say this. I don't know of any other people that are the descendants of and live amongst the people who were the victims of genocide that would ask, a class, potentially of people who are the descendants of the victims of genocide to ask about the good things that happened at the beginning of that genocide. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with such a question posed in such a manner. And I think that if anything, I'm hoping that the kind of information that our history quiz exposes both teachers and students to would counter that kind of colonial perspective. That attempt to diminish the harms that were done as a part of the invasion and subsequent genocidal occupation of the Caribbean. And so that's something that I'll try to share that note with you guys when I'm finished. But once again, I want to congratulate you guys on your victory. And Dr. Fergus, you said
We
it was
want to bring in Renee. Renee has a peculiar position in the history quiz. She helps to prepare the booklet. She is instrumental in preparing the questions. And she is there, one of the earliest present at the venue. She stays all day, interacts with the students, and I'm sure she would want to have a little conversation with Jasmine in particular. So over to you, Renee.
Yeah, I would say I have an integral part to play in the preparation of the questions, but I am there when we are preparing the content of the book. And so I'm very heartened to hear that we would have chosen to go with this reparations theme in the historical event section, and it's also something being covered at the level of Cape. But I have my question really for Jasmine and is what do you think about the elements that we've added to this kind of Jeopardy style game where we have this tic-tac-toe now, which requires a lot of strategy. It requires you to pay attention to your opposing team and also develop your own strategy about getting tic-tac-toe because that equates to I think 50 more points. And also the lifelines. What was your experience with these two elements of the game?
So I really enjoyed the tic-tac-toe aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the day before the preliminaries, I sat down with my mom and we played about a million different games of tic-tac-toe to find the best strategy, the way to win for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
I've used that one strategy throughout all of my games.
Okay, so all the rounds that was the strategy you
Yes.
employed.
Every single game. And in our match against St. Joseph Convent, they actually stole my strategy and almost won. And I was like, wait a second.
They too were being observant.
Yeah. So that was a really fun aspect for me. And I feel like that really brought out the fun in the competition, playing tic-tac-toe specifically, because it's such a simple game, but you really have to think for a second. And the lifelines, I will honestly say, sometimes you get so caught up in the game you forget you have a lifeline. But I think a lot of people have said that it's their favorite aspect, and I honestly agree. It was very entertaining being there and seeing other people do it, and then having to guess off and you rush across the stage and you try to find that answer, and you know exactly where it is in the book, but you just don't remember it. So I thought it was really cool.
So you all rose to the top out of 21 schools. That's the amount of schools that would have registered and actually participated. You all won. What game? Who would you say was your hardest opponent during this particular competition?
Oh, I have to say it was probably St. Joseph Convent. That was the closest game, and I was so nervous throughout that whole game. We were like, oh, this might be it.
What round was that?
That was uh, that was the finals. That was the
Okay,
first one. Yeah,
it was the
not
finals.
the
I
final
think
match. That
that
was
was a
us and
game.
CS.
Yeah, that was a game before meeting CIT in the
You all
final.
played off for who would
Um,
be first and who would be
yes,
second.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes. St.
okay.
Joseph
I mean,
Convent looked very different from their previous games. And I know it's
okay.
experience because they would have been in finals before, and I know that some of their students participated last year. So I think it was a combination of experience, and there are certain schools that are um, final, like we say in Panorama, final night um, sides that they look very different going through the rounds, but when they get to the final, it's a totally different team in terms of their approach and things like that. I want to say this though. Um, I know, Renee, you worked on the content
Not by
for
myself,
the
please.
booklet. Okay, and it was so in depth. One of the challenges history teachers have at the Cape level is that the syllabus is so detailed, and students just have basically for each unit, unit one and unit two, depending
Mm-hmm.
on which unit you do first, you really only have like 2 terms to cover the content for exam. So what you have teachers doing is they are using their holidays to kind of, because if you do not, you will
Mm-hmm.
not finish the syllabus, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just want to say that because certain topics were covered for for the African history quiz really has made my task easier because they have information. They have information on topics like reparation, so that you find in Unit 1 as well as some aspect of Unit 2. My upper sixes commented and they said, "Oh, Miss, we would have loved to have this last year when they were doing Unit 2." So
Excellent.
it's quite extensive, and it has helped me in terms of getting some of the content across, and that's one of the challenges that um,
Okay, I see we may be going on just now. So let me, I don't know if it's a closing question, but let me ask a question, a sort of a visionary question. Jasmine, you are in sixth form. I'm sure by now you would have thought about career, what career you might want to pursue, and therefore what discipline you might want to take up and read for at the university level. In that kind of thinking, do you see history? How important is history? Not to study history necessarily, but history giving you, a kind of philosophical guidance underpinning in terms of, yes, I think I have a better understanding of what profession I might want to think about because of doing history. Does history have that kind of impact on the way you think about career?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be a therapist, and one of the things that kind of pushed me in that direction was history and seeing how the long-term effects of things that happened centuries ago are still affecting us in society today as individuals, and how it affects like a person specific trauma. I think it's so interesting and how relevant history is to each person without them even knowing it.
Yeah, well said. And let me say to Miss Seeley, there is a comment in the chat saying that you are the best history teacher ever. So perhaps based on Jasmine's responses, I mean, she's really doing you proud. She reflects that excellence. Thank you very much to both of you. And let's bring in our next guest. We have a beautiful young lady sitting over here. Let's welcome her. Hello, hello.
Hello, good evening.
All right, Renee, let's start. Let's engage this young lady here.
Yes. Hi.
Her
Hi,
victory.
Samiya. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Samaya,
And
are
how?
you with your teacher or are you on alone with us this evening? Or your
Yeah, my
mom or
teacher.
somebody?
My mommy is here with me and my teacher.
Your teacher, great.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
But
So,
Renee, can we
Samiya,
have a teacher up as well? Shouldn't we have a teacher up?
I'm not getting her in the shot. It's only one device. I
Oh,
don't know if they could. Hi,
oh, she's
Hi,
right
Miss.
there.
good evening.
Right there.
She's right
Okay,
there.
great. Welcome, Miss. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time to be with us this evening.
Yes.
You're
So,
most welcome.
Samaya, you're the winner of the 2024 National Spoken Word Competition. Can you remind us what piece you won with this year?
I won with Say My Name by Ella Andel.
Wow.
Okay, tell us. Start up the show with a little piece of that. Just start the thing. Give us maybe a verse or two, so that
Your
people
favorite
get
verse,
an
Maya.
idea of
Give us
how
a favorite verse.
Okay,
intense
good.
this particular thing is. Say my name. Give us a little piece.
Say my name, say my name, say my name. I'm an African. Say your name, say your name, say your name. We Africans. Do you have the information or simple explanation? Tell me who gave who the authority to change my name, my identity, to replace the fame of great queens of life, to the lies of misery and strife? You with your frail mind so ashamed, you, with your weak heart, still in chains, no respect for human blood sacrifice. Our ancestors fell to the plantation.
Excellent, excellent. Say your name. And of course, that's such an important aspect of our history. Part of the culture loss was also part of our identity through name and so much else. Okay, so just tell us, how would you describe your preparation for the competition, both at school and at home? You know, how challenging it was to keep up with the schoolwork, or even, you know, were you still asked to do chores at home and so on? Did that interfere, or did they treat you as a special, knowing your school was defending, you know, its trophy that and you were representing the school? So tell us in general about your preparation and all of
It was a lot of practice. Of course, I needed to give up all my lunch times and all the extra break times that I had. And I also needed to juggle my schoolwork on also class time and spoken word time. When I go home, I have to practice a lot also in preparation for the next day.
Excellent.
But I don't really do a lot of chores around the house.
Okay, great. And what about your props? Those allies of yours, your friends who supported you, you know, to create a greater sense of drama. How did you get to work with them? Was it only in school, or maybe some other time, weekend? Did they come to your home? Did you go to theirs? Tell us about that aspect of it, working with your allies. I'm not sure if they call them props.
It
But
was during
It was just one person.
just one person.
This round.
okay, yeah.
And we met by miss.
We met by West.
Okay, great. Okay, over to my co-host, Renee. We giving you an early shot.
Okay, so my last year you gave us a strong performance. I want to say from the regionals, because we really start to engage these children and asking staff who is listening, and to correct me if I'm wrong, I think we started engaging from March, maybe April, with the regional spoken word competition. And Samiya has been, I believe since last year, been a really strong performer. So I don't know if she has aspirations of being a performer and going into theater and drama. I think if she decides to do so, she has quite a career ahead of her. But Samiya, what motivated you to select this particular piece? Because there were other really strong, amazing pieces. I mean, I don't want to be biased, but I really loved My Grandfather Back Pay. You chose Alandel's My Name. Why?
I just I didn't really reach out to the other pieces, but I just like Say My Name the most. It just reminds me of one of Pearl and Springer's pieces.
Oh, very interesting. And which one of Antu's pieces are we talking about here? Which one of Auntie Antu's pieces?
Survivor.
Survivor. Well, let me ask you a more. I'm going to ask a difficult question. This you seem super bright. I want to ask you a super hard question here. What Ella Andel does in that particular song, she speaks to the post-independence phenomenon that we have as an African people, where the word Negro has been pinned to us, and we are trying to contend with this word. Are there many? Do you still have many friends who use the word Negro to describe people who look like me and you?
No.
Wow. Well, you know, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was 19 years old, I went to do my first public presentation at one of the prestige schools in Trinidad and Tobago. And I started by saying that I was an African. And the teachers and the students did not let me. I never got a chance to say anything else. The whole debate that day was whether or not I had the right to call myself an African, because everybody at that time felt that there was a kind of a consensus in the society that Negro was quite adequate. Of course, Dr. Fergus would tell you that Negro is in itself a bad term. It's a derogatory term, and we've done the research and we know exactly why. But it's amazing to hear that your generation is growing up without the encumbrance of that particular negative terminology, which was given to us on the plantation alongside the brutality of slavery. So I don't think I can ask another question about this poem. I think Ella Andel has done a great job, and you have done a fantastic job of interpreting it. So my congratulations to you.
Yeah, I know it wasn't part of the plan. We have Jasmine here, and I think it would be nice if Jasmine would like to address our little winner, Miss Atta, Samiya. Jasmine,
Samiya Asby.
Samiya, would you like to say something to her, ask a question, or anything?
I would like
Yeah,
to ask a few questions.
Oh, you want to ask her a question?
Yeah,
Go
we
right
want to have it both ways. We want to have a little conversation between, the two school levels here. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how interesting. Who wants to go first?
What was the hardest question for you in the whole quiz itself?
the hardest question. That's a really good question. In my final match, they asked a question. Besides money, what is reparations about? And this was something nobody had questioned me on. I looked at it one time, and I was like, they're not gonna ask this. I could figure this. And then they did. And luckily, I got to use my lifeline, and a friend told me the answer. But that was definitely my hardest question.
Okay, would you like to ask her a question now, Jasmine? We have to close up just now, so we're giving you an opportunity to speak to your colleague from primary school.
I honestly don't have a question for you, but I do have a comment. I do think that you're very young. You look small, and I saw you on the day of my final match, and my whole group were like, oh my god, she looks so cute. And then on Monday, I saw you perform, and I was like, oh my god, she's amazing. I was not talking like this at my age. I was not this impressive. And I think you're very, very cool. I admire you a lot. I think your performance was so well done and so emotive.
Thank you.
Well, Samiya, since you are so brave, we are not sure if you might be a dramatist, an actor, or even a journalist or something. You seem to have a lot of potential, and a lot of discipline, a lot of talent. Huh? So we're giving you an opportunity to say your closing remarks. Tell us anything. We have to close this segment, so we're giving you an opportunity. Speak to us in whatever way you wish to close this session.
Well, I really am glad that I was able to come to this program, and this is my first time on a radio interview, and I never actually thought it was a thing, but I actually look forward to this.
Dr. Fergus, might I make a recommendation to the board of the Emancipation Support Committee, Renee, if we could get the Sister Zakia, that we invite this sister to join us as a co-host of Indaba in the future. All right, but thank you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight on Indaba. Miss Seeley, congratulations again to you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. As an English teacher assisting in history at my school, yes, I will take that.
All right. Okay, thanks for the clarification. Take care.
Yes, great work. All the teachers, the parents, everybody, the schools, whatever backing you had from your principals, all exemplary. And we want to see more of that going forward in the future. So we are ready for the next segment, Shabaka. My phone that has my other document has gone off. The battery is dead, so I can't see the bio. I can't see anything. So depending
Well,
on
let me say this. Let me introduce this segment this way.
yes,
I was in Guyana for the Holocaust commemoration on October 12th. They have a commemoration of the what they call the MAFA, the Middle Passage, and brothers and sisters in Guyana go down to the sea on October 12th, and they put flowers and so on to remember those who did not make it in the Middle Passage and those who suffered equally on their, and survived to toil on the plantation. And so it's an emotive event. And while I was there, I had a chance to get to listen to the discourse that was taking place in Guyana. And within the Pan African community, there, particularly within the group, the ACTA, which is the African Cultural and Development Association led by Sister Violet Jean Baptiste, there was a heavy emphasis on entrepreneurship for freedom. And inside within that context, I think Sister Violet has encouraged those who are business oriented to network and engage each other within the Pan African community. And she herself being a superstar entrepreneur, and among those people who have taken up that challenge is this sister, Roselyn Beresford. Real pleasure to meet her and her daughter. She's the president of the Grassroot Justice Movement Trust, and really an entrepreneur extraordinaire. So I want to welcome Roselyn to our program today. And what I'm going to look forward to is Roselyn energizing members of our own community, sharing that energy and that enthusiasm that she has for entrepreneurship in opening something like 100 businesses, all kinds of different things. Roselyn is involved, and I wanted to tell us about those things and to share that enthusiasm with us. And of course, we want to use this program practically too. We want to figure out how those of you who are in our listening audience on radio, who are tuned in on social media, who will listen to the program tomorrow or the day after, when you hear this program, we're going to be asking Roselyn to give her information. If you feel that you can network with and do business with Roselyn, if you're in St. Lucia or Jamaica and you want her products or you have something that can contribute to her business, we want to start that networking process from this program. So this is going to be a practical side. There's going to be a theoretical side. Welcome, Sister Roselyn. Okay, she's muted. My sister, you're muted. We can't hear you. Oops. Okay, now we should be able to hear you. Still not coming through. Sister, we still can't. We're still not coming through. Renee has gone in the background to see if the problem is on our end. I'm sure we'll have it resolved in a minute. But in the meantime, let me tell you about one of the products that Sister Roselyn produced, which I had the opportunity to partake in. She produces her own bottled drinks. Unbelievably, she, with her own design, her own containers, and these drinks. There we go. I'm hearing.
We have her now.
Are you hearing me now? Greetings, my brothers and sisters.
On your amazing beverage. You can tell the audience the kind of things that you're involved in.
Greetings, my African brothers and sisters at home and around the world and the diaspora, as well as in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a pleasure to be on this program, and I was so exhilarated by meeting you, my dear brother. You bring so much energy and so much, you ignited what needed to be ignited, and you just give me that strength and courage to continue. You were just a confirmation that I was on the right track, and I really am honored to be here. I am the co-founder and president of Grassroots Justice Movement Trust. It was the first Marcus Garvey-like movement to ever register in Guyana. We had a lot of complications in doing so. We had to revert from trying to register a co-op society, and because it was for African and Africans only and Africans' best interest, it was not within the constitution in my country. So President Burnham did not make such a, isolated constitution. It was more of a socialist constitution. So we had to revert to do something that we could have been completely on the main focus, which was the empowerment of the African people in the African communities, eradicating poverty and, unemployment. So we reverted to a trust. That's how come we registered as a trust. Yes. And our mandate, our mission statement is enlightenment from self to success. We are grassroots and we do it bottoms up. We go to the very root of any issue that we're faced with. We don't want to deal with the surface or in the middle. We just want to go to the bottom of the problem. And what I have found, first and foremost, I would like to congratulate that beautiful young lady. I am so proud of the work that you guys are doing. That African history quiz was phenomenal, and you inspired me. And definitely, I'm going to try my utmost best to see if I can incorporate that here in Guyana, through our organization, even if it's on a private level, if not in the institutional, through the schools. But that was phenomenal. Hearing 21 schools took part in that is just phenomenal. Congratulations, guys. You did great. Yeah. So our main focus is, yeah. A few years ago, I remigrated. I was a immigrant overseas for a number of years, over 15 years. And I remigrated, came back to my country, and I did a lot of charity from the time I came from the airport coming down. There were, persons begging you for help. And I left Guyana with that same mind, that same reality. And I came back, almost 17 years later with that same reality. Uncle, auntie, please sorry, at the airport. And I felt like something was really seriously wrong. And as I entered into the African community, which is my community, it was even worse. It was like the adults that I knew as a child, I'm now witnessing their children in adverse poverty, vulnerable positions. And I'm thinking to myself, this was I played Dolly House with this person's mom, and they were poor and they used to beg us for meals. And now I'm watching my kid play Dolly House with their children, and they're poor and they're begging us for stuff from our barrels and our stuff that we brought in the country. So I just started feeling uncomfortable, like sincerely uncomfortable. So I just started to preach at the corner of the streets and every block, and everywhere I went I preached. I said, go in the bush, go and dig gold, don't beg, don't be in poverty. And I would just push positivity to a level that I didn't even know that I was pushing it, but I was being, known and, becoming more popular, that, if you have a problem, you can come to this lady and talk to her. She's really nice. So a few years down the line, I butt into a young lady by the name of Miss Ingrid Goodman, who was a social worker for almost 39 years in the U.S. Prison service. And she bumped into me in a very coincidental way, and just like a 5-10 minutes conversation with this woman, she just said, "Are you a university graduate?" And I said, "No, I started, community college, but I didn't finish. But I am a CXC graduate." And she said, "Young lady, you would have been unstoppable you have some serious energy. I need you in my camp. And she took me under her wings. We look like mom and daughter. And in a nutshell, she taught me my culture. She taught me the essence of social problems. She taught me, so much that I will forever owe her. And she connected me to the African Reparations Committee. I introduced myself for the first time, took the podium, introduced myself as the granddaughter of the first black immigrant mayor of London, Hammersmith and Fulham. He's on blackhistory.com, my father's father. And the audience knew my grandfather, because he got 3 awards from the Queen back in London, and he was part of the freedom fights in London for black respect. So they said, I worked with that man. Oh my gosh, you got work to do. And within 2 weeks, I was elected the secretary of the Ghana Day organization. And we invited the Ghana president here for the first time, and history just continued, and the journey just continued. So in a nutshell, I was the person who had a little bit of money and would always give passage and charity to everybody, and then I got this gust of giving away my money. So I recognize that I'm in about 4 organizations, and there's a lot of meetings happening, and I'm exhausted, and nobody's talking about money because I'm a businesswoman. I major in accounts. So I said to one of the elders, I said, listen, I can't keep, there's a fundraising and I'm buying, 200, 300 US in tickets to just give away. I said, we got to buy rice, flour, and sugar and sell it back to each other. I'm ready to buy 1 bag of each. And she said, Burnham wanted to do that. Burnham did that. And since he died, he had all the institution, everybody would, every job place would bring their stuff and sell each other. I said, well, guess what? It's time for us to start it back. And she gave me the okay. She said, you buy wherever you go, buy, you pack it off and you bring it to meetings. And that's how Grassroots Justice Movement started. And our main focus was on African empowerment, enlightenment from self to success. And we started, I said, first of all, I need data. I need to have a black inventory list of all the black owners of businesses, small, large, medium in Guyana. So whenever we're spending, we know how we're spending, where we're spending, because I just recognized so much disconnect was taking place, so much unawareness was taking place, and then we're crying out for our crisis, but we're not woke, we're not aware of, we're actually financing our crisis on a daily basis. So I literally started from there, and I have so much success story. One of my success stories that I started a young lady with a bread business and 2 glass case, and in 3 years she bought a $50 million property and now have a supermarket. That's just one.
Okay, let me cut in a little bit here. Congratulations on the work that you're doing.
Thank
Now,
you.
Guyana, of
We are
course,
doing
yes, you and well, all of us, yes,
my
but
team. Yeah,
we are
exactly.
celebrating your work this evening. We're celebrating you and your work and
Thanks.
the groups that you work with. Of course, Guyana has had a long tradition of struggle for African empowerment and justice. We can go back, the Burmese Rebellion, the Demerara, you have the post-emancipation era. Great Pan-Africanists also came out of Guyana. But what I want you to explain to us is the connect between the and business entrepreneurship and what I perceive to be historical justice or reparatory justice. What's the direct connect there? And if, as you go along, perhaps just, all my curiosity, is there still a vibrant Gavi legacy in Guyana? But the main thing is the connect between business and justice. If you could connect that for me.
Sure. Well, when we when I conceptualize the concept of grassroots justice, I just felt that, after learning about our history and learning about who we were, who our ancestors were, and how they were disenfranchised and they were, their economies were destabilized every time they tried to strive. Systematic oppression was always the key element of, of the breakthrough of the objective of the oppressors. So, and without the knowledge of having, the history or the data, we are totally in a boat sailing without a captain. So we would be looking to a 9 to 5. We would be looking to purchasing a piece of land and paying a mortgage via, digging our history to find out, well, where is my ancestral lands? Where is, what did my ancestors purchase? What did they own? So that's where the justice came in. It's like we have to have that data, have that knowledge of self history, where we came from, to be able to know where we are supposed to be heading or where we should be at present, and that is the sense of injustice that came upon, the realities of what is in front of our face. And I said we have to just start the journey of, redemption of social justice, economic justice, ancestral land justice, reparations justice, you name it. It's 400 and something years, 240 something in Guyana.
Yeah, as an outsider going into Guyana, I'll tell you what and I mean, I travel, as I said, quite regularly to visit African communities. And what I saw in Guyana was at least that aspect of the community in which Roselyn lives is a community that is concerned about racial justice, and they're very passionate about that, standing up for the rights of African people. But at the same time, they're very concerned about not falling behind the rest of the Guyanese society in terms of business. And so when I arrive there, they take me, if I have to go for breakfast or lunch, to an African restaurant. And then if there's going to be an event, they rent an auditorium from another African business person. And then at all these events, because they've been able to capture enough of a community around the work that they're doing, they're able to get the attention of African politicians. And so you will find that important African politicians have to come and pay their respects in these auditoriums, at these events, to the work that they are doing. And so there's that communication,
that connect
between people who are fighting for racial justice and people who have the capacity and the power in government circles that could empower,
to advocate, transform.
It's quite a remarkable experience, and I can only assume that it has something to do with the degree of oppression. What I have found is very consistent in my experience in traveling from community to community is where African people are more oppressed, they tend to organize themselves better to deal with that. Where they feel, they get the impression that they are beyond, they are liberated, they tend to be much more casual and loose, and perhaps to lose out more in the general social competition. So I have to take my hat off to the brothers and sisters in Guyana, in Roselyn's community, for the kind of work that they're doing, and also with the children. The same way that Roselyn looks at the work that we're doing here with the African History Quiz. It's amazing to see the children in their community and the work that they're doing down there with those children in history and drumming, in singing and so on. And of course, in everything that they do, there is that element of entrepreneurship. So I can tell you, I can guarantee you that those kids who go into the African
cultural classes,
they're going to get lectures on business. They're going to get elite business people from the society coming to those classes and instructing them in terms of encouraging them to get involved in entrepreneurship. So it's a very, very interesting thing that's taking place in Guyana. But I also want to ask Roselyn to go one step further and talk about the business ventures that you're involved in at this stage in the program. And I know we have to say goodnight to our listeners on 91.1. We're going to lose them. So unfortunately,
Sure.
if you can make that
Sure.
contribution to the social media, that's Facebook or the YouTube page, you're not going to be able to hear the kinds of things that Roselyn is doing down in Guyana. So I want to encourage you, if you can, to make that transition to the EST YouTube page or the EST Facebook page to hear the rest of the program. Roselyn, let's get right into it.
Sure. So, guys, there's just so much products and so much innovation that I've been, given by the ancestors. I literally have been given inspiration through dreams, inspiration, visions, etc. We finally, for the first time in Guyana, we have a African-owned, imported, ordered, and manufactured toilet paper, and it's an economic size. We didn't just want it to bring the regular small toilet paper that you have to run to the supermarket every week. So you have one toilet paper that can last you at least 21 days, at least 27 days, possibly 1 month. And it is made from recycled bamboo out of Africa, out of Asia and Africa, and it is non-bleached and non-chemicals, and it is totally as healthy as possible. We take a lot of time before we ordered it and before we imported it. So we're interested in having this toilet paper sell in Trinidad, in Barbados, in Jamaica, you name it. This is we thing. This is we own. There ain't no middleman in this. And this is a great accomplishment for us, because I remember one of my radio show, I said to the African politicians, I said, not even a matchstick we don't import. We fund the opposition, we fund the ruling party on a daily basis by the trillions.
Yes.
And I've been pushing. I didn't have a lot of money to do what I wanted to do, so I started giving away free plants in different regions of the country. I would go to Bartica, go to Linden, go to Berbice, and give away free plants. And I would say, if you grow organic, non-GMO, non-toxic, no pesticide, no fertilizer, we will buy it, even if it's 1 pound, even if it's half pound. And it's working. We're making our own cubes, and it's non-GMO, no preservatives, no chemicals. It's vegan, 100% natural, and this is a barbecue smoke powdered seasoning. It's loose cubes.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you have been the entrepreneurs who are doing the farmers that you have been working with.
Tons of farmers. Every day I buy things from farmers.
There you go. Wow.
Right now we have Right now we have 3,000 lemons organic to be sold.
Yeah, all these numbers, they're telling me something about the history of Guyana that is very unique. After emancipation, the system, both the imperial and the colonial, tried to block Africans from owning land, from estates. They prevented the planters from breaking up estates themselves. But Guyana came up with this unique model to cooperate and purchase these large estates, and then
estates.
And then there is, I don't know how much the Burnham Cooperative Republic, would have impacted on any kind of cooperative vendors. And then, of course, Gavi's business model. How much of that cooperation is injected into your own grassroots entrepreneurship movement? That historical cooperation, and of course, that
I love your question. It's deep.
Africans also have that element of communities coming together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That really moves your own business entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Well, definitely, it's a powerful question. It's a very deep and rooted bottoms up question, because after getting the knowledge of self, the knowledge of where we came from, I definitely, without question, know that our ancestors, have been robbed with ancestral lands in Guyana, because they purchased plantation estates. They did not purchase a village. The taxation, the NDC, everything came all into being just to oppress my ancestors, just to make sure that they never have a privately owned gated community that is their estate. So we are a grassroots justice movement. We advocate for any injustice when it comes to ancestral lands. I am at the forefront of so many land cases. It's amazing. I'm in the middle of fighting for 200 acres. We got 200 acres on another network because even if I'm not on the top of a case, I'm in the middle of the network, steering the ship, guiding, giving expert, advice, etc. We recently successfully got back some ancestral lands, and we got 50 something house lots. We are in the middle of fighting for a 200 and something acre ancestral land. We, had the Mocha a situation where I shared expert knowledge to let them know it's not just fighting under the Republic of Guyana Constitution, it's fighting under the United Nations Indigenous Peoples Act, Article 2514, that allows us to maintain, preserve, and occupy our ancestral lands, because they're going on the version of the indigenous people are the Amerindian looking people, the American Indian looking people, but the indigenous people are the Arawaks, are the Caribs, are the Wapitianas, etc. They're all of us. But history is not going to tell us that. We have to dig our story up to know that. So definitely I am here to grab, redeem, demand, and reoccupy and own our ancestral lands until the day I close my eye in the 83,000 square miles of this country. We have to take back what is ours, unapologetically.
That's very interesting. Yeah, Doc. So I think you get the idea now.
Also, I'd like to show you the product that my brother tried.
Oh boy.
So empowerment from self to success covers our health. Our health is everything. So we created a beverage detox, and we do herbal treatments, we do cures for cancer, leukemia, you name it, we cure it. We don't treat it, we cure it, we get rid of it out of your system. And it's an empowerment project where we empower you. We tell you how did it enter your system, what will happen if it enters back, and what caused you to use products, which products did you use to put it in your system. So it's not just about coming to us and say I have a migraine and I say here there's a bush to drink for migraine. It's about teaching you how did the migraine it got ignited in your neurons. So this is a detox beverage. It burns fat instantly. It lowers your cholesterol. It instantly lowers your blood sugar, instantly lowers your blood pressure, and it goes on and on and on. It's a spiritual ancestral beverage, and it needs to go viral.
Just I know you don't want to give away, but what is advertised on that bottle? What is in that bottle?
Sure. This is the Nigerian lime, organic lime. During the pandemic, if you check the CDC website, you will see that the CDC had published a lot of data, which they did a research during the pandemic on the Nigerian lime, because they found out that boiling the Nigerian lime with the skin was combating COVID-19 very effectively. So they carry out a research, and I am a researcher. I'm researching all the time. So I put up to this website and I was like, oh wow, interested. So we got connections, we got the seeds, we secured the seeds. We're not giving the seeds out, we're farming it, we're producing it, and we imported it first, but then we decided to cultivate it. It grew, and we're using it to cure a lot of illnesses, because the Nigerian ancient lime is a very big overgrown looking lime, like a grapefruit, but it's not available a lot in Nigeria. It's like what you would want to call maybe like the Jukas, where it's the Maroons and the Moorish villages have this lime, and you go to them for like healing, for sicknesses, and so on. It's like a special sacred fruit, and it's not available a lot. So this is the main ingredient that literally cures a number of illnesses, as well as moringa, as well as neem bitters, bitter aloes. I put a little bit of spirulina in here, so it's an alkaline beverage. So it's that's just a little bit of my day. What's inside? We make our own Colgate, we make our own ketchup, we make our own cream, we make our own soap, we make our own oils. We make so much we can't even begin to tell you. But it's growing bit by bit, and we will be, available for persons that are interested in networking, that would like to, introduce what you guys are making, and once it's, African owned, and we want to bring it from farm to food. We don't want any middleman. We have to do this for ourselves, because self-love starts with us. We cannot look to no politician. We cannot look to no leader. We cannot look to no organization. We got to start it from the kindergarten stage. We got to teach our children to feed themselves.
Roselyn, I don't know if you have a bottle of palm oil there, but I want to ask you about palm oil.
I have a member. that is making palm oil. Two members.
Yeah, I know Trinidadians used to import palm oil from Guyana in order to, engage in the African cuisine. But is it that Guyana imported from Africa, or do you produce your own palm oil?
We produce our own palm oil, but on a very small scale. And I am actually trying my best to encourage persons, where I'm actually, acquiring seedlings so that we could distribute it for free, so that every African family can have a palm tree in their yard. That's one of our vision. So it can eventually, over time, grow back into a bigger industry, but it is now being resuscitated.
Okay. So you did not import from Africa?
No, but it was imported years ago on the Borno. So it's still there here. It's in the interior. It's in my area where I'm living.
Okay, yeah. I always
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it is a real pleasure discovering this Garveyite community in Guyana, and seeing the emphasis on community sovereignty and self-reliance. It is a real.
And
I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed your drink, and I encourage Dr. Fergus to get a bottle. I think we have to
sure,
get a few.
definitely. I'm gonna
I
get it.
had
I'm gonna
a
get a
mind to
shipment
looking
up
at that
there.
in a particular way, Shabaka. I just thought so, but I read that right there. But also, I'm also curious about, in Trinidad, one of the big setbacks we have, and anywhere you go, you hear complaints that the banking system, is very hostile to African entrepreneurship, big or small. And it's one of the main reasons that, Trinidadian African tend to shy away from business at different levels. Of course, the situation seems to be different up there with Mud Islands and elsewhere. But what is the situation in Ghana? Do you have that same kind of
When it comes
hostility
to the
to the
banking
banking
system,
system? And if so, how do you overcome that in order
accessing
to run your
financial
own
resources.
business?
Yeah.
Yes, how?
Definitely, the access to financial resources within the African entrepreneurship community, it's very challenging. But what we do box hand, where we have box hand going all year, and we literally do small loans to each other. And I always encourage our people that we have to come and create our own bank. We have to create
Is
it
that the same
ourselves.
susu?
We
Just for clarification.
the
Is that
susu.
susu?
Yeah, yeah. We
Okay.
rely on susu very strongly. Yes. Yeah. But there's a few loopholes that our organization have, because we work very seriously and under the ground. So there's a couple of places that I could make a phone call and we can get them, we can get something done. Yeah, but it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But the more we wake our people up and the more we explain to them that pooling $1 each, you know, it can make a difference. It can really make a difference. If we can get 1 million African persons to put 50 cents in one day, we can have a capital to start doing a loan system. You know, so we need to build. That is why I was so excited when I saw what this man was doing in Trinidad. I was like, what? I was like so ignited. You know, we need it, and we need to never stop this flame from flaming. You know, we just need it. Our organization brought Woody Maya to Guyana, and we pushed. One of my requests was from him. I said, Woody Maya, we don't need money. I said, we need a cargo ship. We need a few tractors. Give us one tractor, two tractor, and get a millionaire to invest in a cargo ship from the motherland to here, the whole of the Caribbean. And that's all we need. And that will make the difference. We will go down. And he was profoundly shocked because he was thinking I just needed, a little bit of help here and a little bit of help. I said, no, we don't need that little bit of help. We need something that will make a transformational change in this part of the world. As Africans, we need to network with our motherland. We need to understand that we could buy, you could buy our clothing, we could buy our shoes, we could buy stuff instead of, just from the European market.
Dr. Fergus, I want to bring you in here at this point in time. I mean, you listen to this system. By the way, Sister Dr. Fergus is one of our esteemed intellectuals, very well respected across the region, and an important Pan-Africanist. Dr. Fergus, you're listening to this conversation, and all you asked your questions. Now you have a sense of what's happening on the ground in Guyana. What is your take on from the discussion today?
My take from what we have heard tonight? You've been talking up.
Yeah, I just want to get a sense of because we've been on this program here on Indaba. We talked about some of the issues with entrepreneurship in Trinidad. We tried at different times to encourage, to boost entrepreneurship. In fact, the market that we advertised at the beginning of the show, which will take place in December, that Kwanzaa market is one of those initiatives to boost entrepreneurship and networking and so on. It's connected to the Emancipation Celebration in August. And of course, we're going to invite Roselyn to bring her community and to bring her merchandise and to participate in Emancipation Village next year. But listening to the work, getting a sense of what's your takeaway?
Well, Trinidad had a vibrant black business at one time. That's a historical fact. So if we study how that worked, I think we can get some inspiration. And of course, what Roselyn is saying is that they have a sense of understanding of the history. And that is where the Gambian experience is coming from. But I don't want to focus on me. I think we should I understand what you're saying, but basically that's my take. I think she's inspired me. She's inspired our listeners, but I would like a final focus. Why I don't want to spin the conversation around. Guyana is blessed with a lot more resources than Trinidad and Tobago.
Presently.
Yeah, and so when she's talking about land, 200 acres of farm, that's a humongous size of land for us, but that might be just a small portion of land for them, so that when they are demanding 20, 200 acres, out of the size of space that they have, most of Guyana is flat and all of it cannot be arable, but the potential is there. But I want to go into the mineral aspect of it. oil is the latest, but you have gold and other minerals that a lot of small enterprises engage in. Is that something that your movement is looking to embrace, to diversify into? Are you already there into
Yes.
the mining
Yes, we are.
sector?
We're definitely into mining. We have a number of members that started small. I inspired them, and they have gone. They have multiple excavators right now. We have a 600-acre that is owned and controlled by our movement right now, that we have not developed to the point that we want to, but we're looking for investors. We had got some investors that weren't Africans, and I didn't approve it. So because of my non-approval, we've been on hold because we want African investors. We don't want Chinese, or we don't want Portuguese, or we don't want European investors. We want African investors, and we don't want. And even if we're going to have to, let's say, even if we have to go to another ethnic group to have an as investor, we have to have a very serious contract. And because of my very radical policies when it comes to not taking the chances that our ancestors took, because somebody took a chance at some point and they were overthrown, and we live the regrets every day. So because of that, we go slow. I always say I'm slow but sure, and I'm spiritually guided. But we are into mining, and if we have someone right now that is ready to invest, we have 600 acres. Payments are up to date. Everything is up to date,
Okay,
and
what
that is
about your
mining gold, diamond, and tourism land.
Yeah,
right?
Roselyn, can you give?
Alongside mining of the gold would be like the jewelry sector. Are you, where you think
We
about
have we have that. We have that. I have an online jewelry store. I'll send you the link. That started years ago, since 2017. We do everything. We do diamond. We can legally export 50 ounces of gold tomorrow morning, legally.
Yeah.
Right,
So I
so
mean,
there's a lot more scope for Africans in business in Guyana.
I actually
let
have
me let, let me let me just give you a two let me give you a 1 minute what on what we do. We have our airline service. You can purchase any ticket from us. I want Trinidadians to hear this. Okay, you can do it. You can make it happen. The law has passed since 2009 that it's e-tickets. I worked with the cruise ships for 8 years, so I know the ticketing. So we can purchase a ticket from our home. Okay, you can get my guidance. If you have a legal issue, you need an affidavit, a divorce, a law, whatever it is, when it comes to transportation, marriaging, whatever, you name it, we are a government within the government. If you get arrested, you don't call a lawyer, you call Grassroots first.
since I don't want you to get in trouble, but I understand the scope. I think it's
Everything. We do everything. We
going
we're
to,
we're a family hood.
yeah,
So if you have a problem, you call us. We have a social worker, we have everything. We have police officers, we have everybody in every aspect in the country that are members of our movement, openly and secretly, and we're getting work done, and we have to continue to get it done unapologetically.
well, the point that I think the invitation
So
tonight
it can be done in Trinidad.
is to share kind of work that not just your organization is doing, but other organizations like yours in Guyana, the RBI organization, the kind of networking, the kind of enthusiasm for the entrepreneurship and success and achievements that you guys are having. And I want to congratulate you. When I was there, you were just talking about that toilet paper business, and now I see you actually have girls actually start exporting. So that's a development.
Shabaka, I think a noise is coming through sometimes. It's difficult to hear you.
So all this time about being able to talk to Fergus, let me understand it. I hope that I'm not being lost entirely here.
No, sometimes I'm losing.
Yeah, but I just want to say, I think that it's important for us, for our Trinidadian audience, to get a sense of the scale and the width and breadth of ambition, not just ambition, but the growth that's going on in Guyana right now. I think it's really important. And everything that Ross said he's doing, as a I've been there for witnessing, it might sound far fetched to the average person because how people involved in so many things. But I do have a piece of their jewelry. I have gone to see, I'm aware, deeply well aware of the work that they're doing in mining and other and agriculture and so on. So it's phenomenal work. And I wanted to give somebody a sense of what's happening there. And I also want to use some numbers. So you can give your contribution to our community. And so people who are interested in networking, investing, doing business with you can get in touch with you. And of course, those who are in areas that you may not be involved in, you can put them on people in Guyana. So give your information at this point in time, because we're at the almost at the end of our time.
Yeah, perhaps
sure.
we can have Roselyn back another time to
Sure,
talk about
I would love to at any time.
potentials and the actual impact of enterprise on criminality and violence, which we have addressed so often on this program. What kind of impact it has had in terms of curbing or reducing or resolving the problem of criminality and violence among particularly people of African origin.
Sure.
So
Well, we started a radio.
Yeah.
Sure. We started a radio show that is called Reset, the identity talk show. That's the logo in the back. Reset. The identity talk show, resetting the African mindset, and we try our utmost best to reach out on a grassroots level to anyone. You name it. I have saved multiple persons in prison. At one time, I had like 20 persons in the prison that I paid for their data every day, every week, and I had them listening to Julius Malema, have them listening to everybody that they needed to listen to. So the advocacy, it's a necessity. We have to love. First and foremost, it's about leadership. We need more genuine leaders. It's not about the money. It's about leadership. It's not about just entrepreneurship for a profit. It's an entrepreneurship for an establishment to live on, for something to go into a legacy, into an empire. So it's about having pure in heart leadership. That's what we're lacking. Genuine leadership. 100%. Someone that does not care about living for today. They care about living for the next 200 years, And if we can forget about self and just literally don't worry about what we're going to leave behind for our kids, because the legacy that we're going to leave behind is going to be worth more than what we would fight to leave for them. If we can come into that mindset, we can turn, magic every day, and we literally need to just, meet people or become that person. It's not impossible. Sometimes you need to the reason why I do so much is because I'm selfless. I just literally do it for the people. I do it for my people. I do it for my people every day, and it's not easy. I'm not rich, and I get, discriminated many times, and I'm, you're silly, Sister Roselyn, your head ain't good. How could you give away? Look, yesterday I gave away 100 US, was my last 100 US to my worker that labels these products every day. And I needed 1,000 US. And my spirit said, give her this $20,000 for the 200,000 that you're looking to get. And I told her, I said, this is my last 100 US in my pocket. I give it, I put it in her bosom. This is a 60-year-old woman. And she said, Roselyn, you sure? And I said, yes. I said, because I can't find a friend and a worker like you ever. And I didn't know where I got in my next call, but I got a call to drop 2 cataract treatment for your eyes to someone this morning, and that's how I got back my 25 US for today. I got 25 US for sale for today early in the morning. So it's about selflessness. It's about the paper money is just paper money. Our ancestors' legacy is worth everything.
Okay, we appreciate you on our program this evening. I'm sure we have had a lot of ideas, lots of inspiration, and I'm sure producers listening, and we like to have you back
And you
definitely
guys can contact
to
me.
talk about,
Yeah.
yeah, to talk about the impact on people in general, not just within the business community, but as I'm suggesting, that wider community. So, your passing or closing remarks as we close out the program. Closing remarks,
Thank
do
you,
you
my
have?
brother. Thank you, guys. And we all need to tap ourselves on the shoulders because we're all doing it on a daily basis. Yes. Oh,
Okay.
you know what? I wanted to let my brother know that there's a key point that I want for every country that were under the colonization of the British or the Spanish or whatever that is fighting for African reparations. There's a clause that I implemented and I was shunned out in the reparations committee in Guyana where I was advocating for plagiarism to be in the bill. Because when we're talking entrepreneurship and economic empowerment and black economics, we cannot allow another ethnic group like the Chinese to sell our attire. Even if we don't own the factories, we have to have the power to be the only importer of that fabric. So that is a message that I want to send to Jamaica, to Barbados, to Antigua, to Hillary Beckles. We need plagiarism to be in the African reparations bill because otherwise what are we really securing for black economics and African empowerment? When there's 20 stores on one street and everybody's selling our retirement and they're not a part of our ethnic group, and we do not sell Hindu or or Chinese retirement, or we don't even produce European retirement. So why should they have the power because they have the money, but now we have the power because we're now formulating a bill? Why not formulate a competent bill? And I was shunned. I was shunned from the people who were in charge of the African reparations bill. That did not go down on our bill, and I was fighting for it, and I got the support of the members of the African reparations committee. They were on my side 100% because it was phenomenal. They didn't even think about it. I said it's time for us to stop it. We must not be going down Regent Street and everybody's selling our cloth and everybody's selling our attire, and they're not us. So that needs to be echoed throughout every country that is fighting for African reparations. We need to be able to control the African attire market.
Okay, that's a
That's
great note to end on for this evening. Thank you, listeners on YouTube and Facebook, and I hope you join us again next week for another exciting program in Dabo where knowledge grows. Thanks to all who assisted in the background, Ruskin at 91.1. Thank you all. Good night. See you again next week.